Hi everyone, today I'm talking with you about how is driving in El Salvador, and if you're planning to come, get around, visit different places, or if you're native and you just want to go for a trip out of the capital, I tell you things that you have to do and don't, some tips, recommendations, also things that you have to keep in mind at the moment of driving, especially in this country that I consider they really busy and noisy. Also some car cares that you have to know and also be prepared for any inconvenience. So that is what we're talking about today, and let's get started. Okay, the first thing I can recommend you if you want to visit El Salvador and drive along its routes is to get an application to know where you are, to know the best route to take, also the traffic and the possible crashes. I consider that the best application in this type for El Salvador is Maps because it gives you more orientation and is more updated with the new routes of the country than another application not like Waze, for example. With Waze, in my experience, is better to use but out of the country because here in El Salvador you lose a lot. I remember one time with my family we were coming back to one of the most recognized beaches here in El Salvador. It's called La Costa del Sol, and we were using Waze. And we wanted to avoid the traffic, so we left the road, and one moment another, we were lost. And we know that this place is called El Guaje, and that is a old road that comes out near of Ilopango, and Ilopango is 57 minutes away from the capital. So it wasn't a great experience, and it's better to avoid to get lost, especially at night like us. So yeah, that is my first tip for you, that is to get an application to know where you are. Another tip that I can give you is the importance to know and understand the left and signal traffic. For example, you have to know that the speed limit in El Salvador in the city is 60 km per hour, instead out of the city is 90 km per hour. Also, you have to know that the red signs are regularly, the yellow ones are preventive, and the blue ones are informative. That helps you a lot to know how to drive in and out the city, and also to avoid fines and possible accidents. Also, you have to be careful with not change the lines without before turning on the turning sign lights, for example, or don't wait to the traffic or target. You have to respect the distance with another car. Also, you don't have to texting or talk on the phone. You have to use the seatbelt. You have to pay attention on the road all the time. There are a lot of things that you have to avoid you don't want to be in trouble. For example, if you have a child, don't put a child in the front seats. For them, there are special seats at back. Another thing that you have to be careful is with the behavior of El Salvador driver. They usually be really rude, and this characterizes a lot the country. For example, if a car gets into the line of another car, maybe the driver will shout offensive or do bad gestures, and in this case you need to be patient. You need to have control of yourself. Also, you don't have to take it personally because you don't want to cause accidents, and the better way is for everyone in the road is just to let them pass. On another hand, one of the advantages that El Salvador has is the easy mobility. Now we have a lot of possibilities. For example, we can rent a car, you can request for a Uber, InDrive, or Bolt, Also, you can take a taxi or you use the public transportation that is not so expensive, and there are a lot of units passing through most places, especially in the capital. But if you want to drive out of the city, I recommend you to renting a car because it's more comfortable and you can save a lot of time, travel time. And about to renting a car, I consider to shoot when you have to know where do you want to go. I mean, if you want to go just in the city or visit beaches, I think you can rent a full-size sedan car. But if you want to go, if you want to go to the beach, to the mountain, for example, uh, you need a Jeep, SUV, or a four-wheel drive car, especially for the types of the roads of these places. And because there are a lot of sloping and curved streets, and the roads are not in good condition. And also, other thing that you don't have to forget is that it's important to familiarize yourself with the car before renting it. Now, the traffic in El Salvador, most in the main streets are really crowded, and even taking alternative routes you can escape the traffic. So definitely the traffic today is chaotic, and you have to avoid to traveling or driving during peak hours. And with this, you have to know that you have to spend a lot on gasoline, and gasoline in the country is currently expensive. So if you are thinking of coming El Salvador, you have to, well, you must have a considerable budget, and that counts not just for El Salvador, is for any other country. Another thing not less important is checking the car. Before going on a trip, you have to be prepared for any inconvenience. You have to check the water, the oil, the lights, the brakes, and of course that everything working correctly. Also, according to the lab, in El Salvador, you have to carry in the trunk a spare tire, a cone, a fire extinguisher, in addition to other tools as well. If you have any problem with the car, or if you need help and you consider the problem is slight, a recommendation for you is, especially if you are on a highway, is to look for the nearest gas station. And in addition to finding help, it helps to you to get a point reference if you need the insurance ratio where you are. Also, the gas station provides a lot of service, and you can use them, for example, for rest a moment, if you are hungry, or if you need to use the bathroom. So that is in case if you have a slight problem. But if you have a crash, the appropriate thing would be calm, and also to call the appropriate authorities. And nowadays we have to be very careful with the crashes. In the country, it's more frequent to find accident cars, and always is for not driving properly and not to respect the traffic signals. My last tip for you is to be careful with pedestrians. In El Salvador, pedestrians rarely respect the traffic lights, or they don't walk on the sidewalk, or they don't use the walkway. So it's very important to be careful with that. Finally, driving in El Salvador is unique, and I'm sure that you'll really enjoy if you respect the traffic signs and drive properly. Also, you already know that the Salvador culture is a little bit crazy, and that's why we have to be careful at the moment to taking a car. but it's more than certain that if you want to know El Salvador on your own, you really enjoy the experience because its roads are really wide, and the most of them, especially out of the capital, are really in good condition. So I hope this video would help you a lot. Take care and goodbye.